Hi, it's Connecticut personal injury attorney Ryan McKeen here. Today I'm going to talk about how we got a $10 million loss of consortium verdict in Connecticut, highest in state history and one of the highest in the country. And it's a real testament to being able to build trust with a client. I think is that's the core of a claim like this because it's very delicate. You're asking somebody to open up the most intimate parts of their life, their sex life, their struggles with their spouse, the happy times that may not be there. I mean, it's very emotional testimony. I mean, as I sat there in court that day, I've been going to court for about 20 years, and it was by far the most powerful and impactful testimony that I had ever seen, and really could imagine, which was the wife talking about how her husband's injuries had impacted her, him, and the family. And there's such a huge loss there. One of the things that we ask folks in jury selection often is sort of, what is your passion? And many times they will say, my passion's my family or it's my faith. Those are probably the two most common answers we get. And yet, when somebody suffers a very significant injury, it's not just an injury to them, it's an injury to a whole family. It's an injury to a relationship. And, that doesn't show up on an x-ray. That doesn't show up on an MRI. There's no medical bill for that. There's no invoice. There often aren't pictures. You may not take pictures of cleaning up a diaper of a spouse or helping them with bed sores or things of that nature that are very, very personal and private. So on this loss of consortium claim, it was really handled by Attorney Alexa Mahony in our office. And what Alexa was able to do was really spend a lot of time with our client, and to listen and to really build that trust, because as lawyers, sometimes we work with our clients and we work with them about what the court's going to be like and what questions that they may be asked and what testimony that we may want them to cover, when they go to take the stand. And sometimes clients get up there and they get nervous. I mean, most people don't like public speaking, and all of a sudden you're in a court. There's a judge, there's a marshal, there's a jury, there's a defense lawyer, and they can clam up. And sometimes as a lawyer, it's very hard to try to, come on, tell me your story. You can't put words in their mouth, but you have to get it out of them. And so when you're able to have a client who's able to walk into that jury box and able to be comfortable with the process, able to trust their lawyer that they're going to navigate these uncomfortable waters for them, and be by their side and get the testimony that the case needs and deserves to represent the loss, that's really how a consortium claim is brought. And again, like the jury has to know, a fact finder has to know, you know, who are these people? What was their life like before? What happened the day that this horrible thing happened? What's happened in the days since? And again, that can all be just very, very, very hard to talk about. And oftentimes, I think it's because people may feel guilt. They may feel guilt, because they may feel that their spouse is a burden, or they may feel like their marriage isn't what they want it to be. Maybe they even think about leaving their spouse. So there can be all of these things that are there that, and people may not recognize that specifically. And I'm not talking about our specific client in this instance about any of those things being present, but those are things that are commonly present, in loss of consortium claims. Or the alternative is somebody says, well, I made a vow for sickness or health, and I'm doing this in sickness, and I don't deserve any compensation for this. And so there may be some feelings of, I don't know if guilt is the right word, but I don't know if I have another one for you, that have to be almost therapeutically processed in order for somebody to take the witness stand and confidently and clearly explain to a jury, to strangers, to a judge, to a court, what it is that had happened. And also to prepare, the oftentimes defense lawyers won't ask questions, but we've got to prepare in the event that they do. And our big theme here in closing was that the defense, they never saw our injured client's wife. They never valued her. In fact, they made an argument that, well, he doesn't need home health aides because she's doing it for free. And ultimately, I think I mean, it felt like to me a very insulting argument, a very demeaning argument to her. And we seized on that. We said that they didn't value her, that her life didn't matter. And ultimately, I think a jury, by awarding $10 million, said her life does matter, and you corporation are going to see her. So a lot went into getting that $10 million loss of consortium verdict. But if you're seriously hurt, you're thinking about a loss of consortium claim, you should really discuss what that means for your lawyer, what it is you may have to talk about, what the process is. And as always, we're here for you. If you have any questions, you give us a call, 860-471-8333.